There are certain Americans, dead or alive, who are regarded as national treasures. John Wayne, Katharine Hepburn, Louis Armstrong, Walter Cronkite, Joe Louis, Babe Ruth, and, of course, Alfred E. Neuman, this fictional face that launched 35 years of Mad magazine. You might have thought that with all the electronic diversions available to kids today, something like Mad would be, if not already dead, then certainly dying. But nope, Mad is alive and kicking as successfully at everything sacred. Still the brainchild, if that's the right word, of this man, Bill Gaines.
We pride ourselves in the fact that we have no philosophy. We have no philosophy, we have no politics, we don't take sides.
We have no morals, we have no scruples.
We have no taste, we have no intelligence.
Yes, we have no bananas.
And that's about it.
Plus, I mean, working for Mad means just never having to grow up.
That, I suspect, is the essence of it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, a new Stallone movie comes out. I mean, and we're there, and we're sitting in the back row just giggling, you know, because we know what lines we're going to write, you know, and just everything is fair game.
Mad is now published in 9 languages around the world, and for 3 decades has been among the top 10 best-selling magazines on the stands. The artists and writers are listed in the magazine as the usual gang of idiots. They are quite talented idiots. One reason for Mad's success may be that, with a few exceptions, it is the same gang who've been turning it out all these years. And these are the key suspects involved with putting it out 8 times a year. Apart from Gaines, the so-called creative staff consists of Nick Meglin, Dick DeBartolo, and on drums, John Ficarra. I would have thought that Mad would be out of business by now, and I'll tell you why. There's so much outrageous, more outrageous than you guys are, stuff available to young people now, that I thought you would kind of look a bit corny in the late 80s.
Well, we don't really know why it works. It's just been working for 35 years, and we try not to analyze it because we may blow it.
Bill Gaines is hardly anyone's idea of a publishing mogul. The magazine works because of, or in spite of, his eccentricities. Beyond the madness, there is a method, or perhaps just old-fashioned integrity. He won't take advertising.
We long ago decided that we can't make fun of Pepsi-Cola and take money from Coca-Cola. That kind of thing.
Could we do it the other way? That's a good
Did you ever think about that? Think, Bill, think!
And he's turned down potential millions by refusing to license the toys, cartoons, T-shirts, and other spin-offs so common in the kid marketplace.
I just think that sucking every buck out of a product with merchandising is not necessarily the way to go, and Mad doesn't do it.
Most of Mad's sales are made at the newsstands, but among the subscribers are the nation's dentists, a form of passive laughing gas for younger patients. In any way, more fun than thumbing through Dentists Quarterly. One thing Mad is not, it is not a product of market research.
Bill won't take readership surveys because he's afraid that if we find out the bulk of our readers are 12 to 16 males, that we might start subconsciously pandering to them.
There's never been a demographic study?
Or Republican.
You feel you're back in the Depression at the Mad offices. Neatness does not count. Cheapness does.
Him?
Here comes the good question.
Gaines's penny pinching is legendary.
I have seen Bill break up a conference with the entire staff assembled for 2 days to track down a $1.75 telephone call that no one will fess up to making.
As cheap as he is day to day, he will, on the spur of the moment, take the entire staff to Europe for a couple of weeks for an eating and drinking binge. He once flew everyone down to Haiti to talk the sole subscriber there into renewing.
We all went to his house to beg him to resubscribe to Mad, and he did.
I wonder if you did have advertisers, who would want to advertise Mad?
Well, that's another reason we don't have advertising.
No, I wonder, seriously. Let's think. Who would...
Coke
Well,
offered us
certainly
money
the
at one
soda
point.
companies
Uh-huh.
and the gum companies, I think, would be a prime candidate.
But then we worry because we would hate to have our readers getting cavities because
You
we
would
took
hate
ads.
It's okay to rot their mind, but not their teeth.
We found one 6th grade in suburban New York where 43 of 45 kids were regular readers of a magazine that takes on politics, popular culture, nuclear power, advertising, racism, and just about every other foible of modern life. Even if they don't understand every word of it, they know that adult sacred cows are being deflated, and that may be enough.
Weird. Cool. Funny. Cool. I like it. Interesting.
My mom thinks it's really dumb, and she thinks that my father is like acting like a child when he reads it.
When it's dumb, it's funny. Yeah, but sometimes you don't understand the jokes. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sometimes I have to make somebody explain them to you.
When we were doing the latest Rocky movie, the writer had written a panel where one guy is saying, in this film, Rocky fights someone who hates everything America stands for. And the other person says, my God, you mean he's fighting Louis Farrakhan? And now when we read that, a couple of the associate editors said, gee, you know, I don't think many kids are going to get that. You know, who's Louis Farrakhan? I looked at Nick, and Nick said to me, we don't care if they're going to get it. You know, that's what makes Mad great.
Yeah, there's one, though in the recent issue, the 3 Mile Island Children's Zoo. That's on the edge of being a little bit
but
sick,
there again,
especially when you see what's in
Just
that
on
zoo.
the edge, that was very sick.
Right.
And I think that's our purpose there, to show the horror of the reality that happens. I mean, I don't see any... We're not being cynical. We're not creating something that didn't happen.
And also, how many... I mean, if our readership is constantly changing, there are a number of kids who were in diaper or maybe not even born yet when 3 Mile Island occurred. And in a sense, we're educating them to what... Oh, come on, nothing.
No.
You really don't learn anything from it. You just laugh at it. I think you learn something. Yeah, I think you learn something because it shows the messed up animals and it shows about nuclear waste. That it messes you up. It's not good for you.
Maybe he would ask his father, what's 3 Mile Island?
What's
I think
Coney
it's a valid
Island?
point.
Same thing.
That's right, Staten Island. I know.
But you're not in the business of educating.
We certainly have been campaigning against cigarettes for most of our life. Dick has been running articles on deceptive packaging for years and years in Mad, and I like to think that we've made the kids aware of the fact that they should be very careful what they buy.
I think Mad acts as a bridge between adolescence and adulthood, and we sort of start to prime them to the fact that the world ain't such a hot place, and you're going to get burned a couple of times, and don't believe everything you read or what people say to you. That you got to have a healthy suspicion about life.
What is the kind of quintessential person, subject, movie, whatever, that just makes you guys' mouths water?
Pretentiousness.
Yeah.
Pretentious, right.
When they are above us in their approach to the film.
Well, that's almost everything in life.
That's why
Shall we go on?
Yeah.
This is going nowhere.
I
agree.
What's next?
Next.
This is the worst we've ever had. I think...
Mad visits a modern organ transplant hospital.
Okay.
The ideas for Mad stories come from everywhere, from Hollywood scriptwriters to a nun in Chicago, but mostly from editorial conferences. See how funny thinking about being funny can be.
What's the title?
What's the hardest part of putting out the magazine?
Stapling it.
The fame of the game.
This is the result of 35 years of fine-tuning the creative process. Bill, was it a success from day one, Mad Magazine?
No. I think it became successful with issue 4 when we lampooned Superman. We ran a feature called Super Duper Man. And
That's hilarious.
It was then. You had to be there.
Mad began as a comic book that spoofed comic books, a departure for Gaines, whose main livelihood came from a line of horror, crime, and war books soaked in blood, with names like Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, Two-Fisted Tales.
All the wonderful old comics of yesteryear.
All the stuff kids love, all guaranteed to outrage parents. Hey, what do you hear from parents? What do they say?
I think it's the kiss of death that we have parental approval at this point.
We've never sought it.
I would rather be something the kids read with a flashlight underneath the bed at night.
You mean like Playboy?
No, like the Congressional Record.
Wait a minute.
You would think that a place like Mad could only function independently. The fact is, Gaines sold the magazine 20 years ago to Warner Communications, but he was left free to run it.
I didn't sell it to Warner's. I sold it to somebody who sold it to Warner's, to be technical about it.
It's like the Contras deal.
The editorial offices of Mad are guaranteed to dismay any corporate executive who may not understand the value of disorder, even chaos. So Warner's, in their orderly corporate headquarters a few blocks away, wisely keeps its distance. Out of sight, out of mind. I heard a story that as a part of the Warner Communications empire, you as a senior executive, whatever, have to take a medical every year. And the story I heard is that you send somebody else.
Well, you're really blowing it, aren't you?
The culprit, art director Lenny Brenner, the man whose body is regularly switched with Bill Gaines. Could have been one of those Tales from the Crypt.
Lenny Brenner loves physicals, and he's in good health, and it's much better that he goes than I go.
You know, I'm wondering about something. That doing this story, showing the brains behind Mad.
This was the bad part.
You think that kids are really going to be shocked when they look at these four faces, disappointed?
Well, hopefully they don't watch 60 Minutes.